Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Flatro4, and this is my little time trial guide, if you want to call it that, for Crash Team Racing Nitro Field. So, I've had a lot of fun with this game recently, and I've actually already done all the time trials for all the different levels, the CTR and the CNK tracks, and so I thought maybe it would be good to just, post a little bit of a guide, basically showing all my times that I got and how I got them. I'm not good at this game, at least not for like the first tracks that I do. I get better as it goes on. For some of the tracks, you have to be darn near perfect. So anyway, here we have Ruse Tubes. This is one of the first tracks in the game, and it's really not too bad to defeat Entropy and Oxide on this one. For the most part, you're just constantly drifting, and it's really easy to drift on this map because the turns are a lot more. They're wide, they're not really tight or anything like that. So you can see I'm just constantly drifting. I'm making sure I get all the speed pads. I didn't do a very good job of drifting there, and I also crashed into a wall, but this is my very first attempt at even trying time trial mode for this map. So, for a first run, it's not terrible. At least, I'm trying to learn the map and trying to figure out what's working and, trying to get more comfortable with all these different maneuvers that I'm going to have to be pulling off in order to beat Oxide. So, basically, you can see right here, I'm trying my hardest to keep that Sacred Fire going. I think it's Ultimate Sacred Fire, actually. And I'm doing everything within my power, just constantly, trying to get triple boost when I can, double boost if I can't do a triple, getting big air. And you're going to see right on this turn in particular, yeah, like that is a really big, boost that you're getting from big air. So I'm just constantly trying to keep up the momentum and just making sure that I never really, let go of the R1 button until I need another drift. So, first attempt, not too bad, 124.45. I don't remember exactly what Oxide's time is. I believe it's like 122, 123. I can't remember exactly. But now we are. I accidentally just retried the race. I have to make sure that you have to make sure that you select Entropy's Ghost from the menu before you actually go back into it. So that kind of is a little nitpick that a lot of people have had, where you like this one. I beat Entropy's time, and it doesn't count. I'm really angry about that. As you can see, kind of like that reaction. So yeah. I'm using Penta Penguin too. I probably should mention this. Penta Penguin is he's a speed character, but he's probably like the best speed character because his he's really small, so it's easy to see over him. His size isn't a problem. You can see obstacles that are coming ahead and all that stuff. His vision, the vision and field of view that he offers is a lot better than most characters that are usually big and take up a lot of the screen. So anyway, this is Entropy. He's very easy for this map. This is not hard at all. I mean, I beat him by a full 10 seconds on my first run, and I hit a wall, and I wasn't really, feeling too good about my boosts constantly being up. So yeah, Entropy's not that hard for this map. So really, yeah, and then I hit a wall there. So like as soon as I say he's not hard, I go ahead and make a really big mistake. But yeah. Yeah, that shortcut is better if you actually hug the wall there. If you go to the left of that little purple crystal thing, I don't know exactly what it is, but if you go to the left of that, it's actually a lot better. It can shave off an entire second. But I didn't trust myself to do it, so I just wasn't trying it. At this stage, I wasn't sure what Oxide's time was going to be. I didn't look up the times for Oxide like ahead of time, so I'm just going in blind here, and I really thought that my time would actually be pretty close to Oxide, if not enough to beat him. But anyway, this run's not going as well as I wanted it to. I had a pretty good second lap, but my first lap was kind of not too great, and my third lap is not going to be great either because I hit the wall there. But it's still going to be good enough to beat Entropy, and really that's all I cared about. Hitting another wall there. That's just the story, the summary of all my runs. I hit a wall at some point in every single time trial. It's pretty crazy. Not really sure why I got 18 coins there. It felt like I should have gotten 20 since I, beat his ghost and all, but it doesn't really matter to me. Uh, Wampa coins are a lot easier to get in online mode, and uh, I didn't really touch online mode until I was like really confident in my abilities, and sure enough, after all the time trials, I became a lot more better of a racer, and I've actually been playing online a lot, and hopefully I can upload some clips for you. But I forgot to select Oxide's ghost, as you can see. Oxide is he's a pain. His time on every single track, well, almost every single track. There are some where he posts an abysmal time that's really not that hard to beat. Really, like the ones that I found really easy were like Tiger Temple and Tiny's Arena. Those were both the really easy ones. All the other ones were kind of like, Crash Cove in particular. That was a really hard one because there's really not too much to really use. It's really just skill based. I mean, all of them are skill based, but that one is really skill based because you have to like know how to keep your ultra or ultimate sacred fire. I can't remember what it's called. It's USF is the acronym. I can't ever remember if it's ultimate sacred fire, ultra sacred fire. I think it's ultimate. But yeah, it's just really hard, and you have to get used to it because there are many races that just require you to keep your boost up constantly. And for the most part, that's just a part of the game. You gotta learn the mechanics of the game in order to become better at it. And there is, in a way, the get good mentality. I know for a fact that I, kind of went through that because I made the mistake of playing hard mode on my first run of Adventure. It didn't go very well. I was not very good, and there was a lot of rage. And I think now, if I went back to it, I probably would still lose a couple of races, but it would be a lot better than it was my first time around. So Oxide on this one, he's pretty hard. He doesn't play perfectly, and I have to restart there. I'm pretty sure I'm about to restart in a second now. He doesn't play perfectly, obviously, because there's got to be a way to beat him. But he plays really well, and really, other than the fact that he doesn't go for the better version of that shortcut at the end of the race, he's pretty darn good, Obviously, also, it kind of looks like his drifts aren't as good throughout the entirety of the lap. He still keeps up his boost, and he never hits a railing, he never, messes up a drift or anything like that. But it does kind of seem as if he doesn't always get like perfect boosts, and he doesn't like constantly, I guess big air. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, this map is, for a beginner map, it is pretty hard, but he's not too bad. As you can see, the first lap we're kind of neck and neck. It's kind of more so he was leading in that at the end of that turn. And right now, he's leading by a lot. So I have to try to make up some ground, Basically, the way to do that is just to, right there I kind of messed up. I didn't really like the width of that turn, so I had to kind of waste time getting a better angle at that. So here we go into the final lap, and he is pretty far ahead of me. I mean, probably just judging based off of how fast we're going, I would say he's about a whole 3/4 of a second ahead of me. And I realize the only way I'm going to beat him is if I go for the better version of the shortcut. So I'm a little bit nervous. I go for it, and I barely squeeze in, and I barely pass him at the very last second. That was crazy. I think I beat him by like 15/100ths of a second. It was absolutely insane. But good race nonetheless. I definitely could have been better, and if I wasn't so scared of going for that like shortcut, I probably could have posted a whole second ahead of him. But nonetheless, it was still a very good time. Yeah, I beat him by 14/100ths of a second. That was pretty crazy. And now I'm just kind of picking. I'm very selective with what I'm choosing. Like I said, this was at the beginning of my time trial run. I was just trying to get a feel for how to get better at the game. So I wasn't going to touch like, Sewer Speedway, which is kind of broken right now, and you know, I wasn't going to try any track that I felt like was going to be rage-inducing. I decided to go with Tiger Temple because I felt like Tiger Temple was, it wasn't an easy map, but it was a map that I felt like I did really well in hard mode, and I thought that I could improve upon it in time trial mode. So yeah, I eventually select it. I stick with Penta Penguin. You know, he was basically my go-to character for every single track. I like speed character. I'm not saying that you have to play as a speed character to beat Oxide, because Oxide himself is an acceleration character. So obviously it's possible to beat him with an acceleration character. It probably is also possible to beat him with a turning character, but you don't really see people doing that too much. But speed characters, in my opinion, are some of the more, you know, fun ones to try to learn. Obviously, being able to go that fast is really nice, and as long as you're able to keep up your boosts, I mean, no other character is going to be able to catch you, so that's why I like the speed characters. So this shortcut over here, this is the only shortcut in this entire map that I'm aware of, at least, and it's perpetually open. Usually in adventure mode and all that, you would have to use an item in order to bust that door open. But here it's just, you know, it's always open. So I'm hugging the outside and going up these ramps. I learned during the entropy time trial that that is actually a little bit slower than just hugging the inside and just keep continuously drifting. So you're going to see for this entire time trial, I just am not understanding exactly the fastest route. But I do learn against entropy. So I hit the wall there, and that really sucks, but it's my first attempt, so I'm not too worried about it. I just keep racing, you know, keep my Sacred Fire as long as I can, hit the idol, you know, this happens, and I'm like, you know, it's just a, like, you know, dry run. I didn't really know what exactly was going to be the strat going into it, so I don't let it get to me too much. The only time that I would actually restart is if I'm just trying to practice a shortcut, really. But other than that, I really don't restart too many first time trials. That turn was terrible. I took that so wide. Yeah, it's just, again, you know, I'm not very good right now, but I promise you it gets better. And also, I forgot to film my run of Crash Cove. It wasn't too spectacular, and if you really do want me to actually post that, I could always go back and try to beat my time, and I'm sure I would do a lot better now that I'm, you know, really good with all the mechanics in the game. So anyway, now we're going to do Entropy's Ghost. I felt really good about that time. I definitely felt like I beat Entropy with that time. I wasn't sure if I beat Oxide, though. And sure enough, I beat Entropy by a full 4 seconds, which was pretty good, you know? Especially because that was the first run. I made like 3 big mistakes. I hit 2 walls and then got torched by the idol. So definitely ways that I could have shaved off at least like 10 seconds off my time. So I wasn't too worried about going in and facing Entropy. And here is where I'm going to learn how to actually like handle the inside better, so that I get a better time. So here you're gonna see, yeah, he's going inside, I'm going outside, and look at the difference. He is a full, he's already like across all the bumps by the time I'm just starting on them. I do eventually catch up to him, but you know, obviously it's because Entropy isn't really incredible. He's just supposed to be like, you know, this is where the average player's skill level should be at, you know. Oxide is where, you know, expert levels come in for most tracks. This track wasn't too hard for his Oxide time. His time really wasn't too spectacular, in my opinion. And we're going to see what that time is after this race is over. So I basically just keep on, you know, boosting. I'm not really doing big air on those little bumps until like the last one. And thankfully I'm not getting torched by the idols, at least not yet. I think I get hit by 1 at the end, but I'm doing a lot better with the shortcut, doing a lot better just drifting into it and then drifting out. Really nice. go on top of that speed boost, and yeah, I'm just too afraid to drift in here, so you're gonna see I'm making a lot of mistakes. And then we go into the final lap, and I'm finally, you know, starting to hug the inside and, you know, getting a little bit more comfortable with how to do that. Not really going for big air until, like, after I get my triple boost. Not even going to attempt to drift while I'm in the little tunnels. And I believe, yeah, doing this turn pretty good, but I did hit the wall there. Could have been better. But still, it's a lot better than Entropy, who was still lagging pretty far behind. And I'm actually going to PB on this run, which is pretty crazy, by a whole 5 seconds, which is really nice. So, yeah, so I felt really good about going in for Oxide's time. I was like, okay, you know, as long as I don't hit the wall, I think I can, you know, do a lot better. And I don't know why, but I keep pressing retry here. Don't ask me. There's also that, like, really weird save corruption glitch because I'm playing on the PS4. So I was just really paranoid, and I watched a lot of people and how they, you know, had the thing happen to them, and I consistently saw it, you know, if you crashed on the loading screen while it was auto-saving, it corrupted your save file. So I was like, I'm just gonna quit to the menu and hope that that's better than change level, because in, like, the couple of videos that I saw that people posted of their file getting corrupted, all of them were after they select change level in time trial mode. So I just didn't touch change level. I touched quit every time, and thankfully mine never crashed. I'm not saying that that's the reason why. I just was paranoid, and I was trying to do everything different from how those people lost their time trials. Or really just their save data, not their time trials. And I was constantly backing up my save data too, because I didn't want to lose all my coins and all my items that I had unlocked. So anyway, I'm doing a lot better here. You can see I feel more comfortable going into that shortcut, and, you know, I'm not really drifting, but I'm at least, you know, keeping up the Sacred Fire for a reasonable amount of time during that first lap. And then going into the second lap, you're going to see, you know, this is a lot better start. You know, just keep on doing the triple boost. Didn't do a triple boost there, probably should have, but still pretty good. All these idols, and Oxide's time, I don't think I mentioned this, but I actually beat Oxide's time with my second run. So I was like, wow, that's actually pretty crazy that I was that much better than him by a whole, like, 2 seconds or something. So I was just looking to do a little bit better than my last run, just to try to, you know, really set the bar if I ever wanted to revisit time trial mode, which I think I do. I think now that I've, you know, really played this game a lot, I feel like I could definitely beat my times for most of these tracks. But yeah, I'm just on the third lap, I'm kind of playing it a little bit more safe. I'm not really going for too many risky boosts, other than this one, really. This is like the only risky one, and I did hit the wall there, so that kind of sucks. But ultimately, I mean, look how far away Oxide is on the map. There's really not too much chance that I screw this up somehow. But I do end up getting a better time by a whole 4 seconds, so that's really nice. And I had a consistent lap time too. Almost every single one of them was like around the 36.5 area. And so that's a Tiger Temple complete. So I was really happy about that. It felt really good that I beat Oxide's time on my second try of that. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's try a harder one. Let's go for something that I feel like isn't going to be as easy to do. And of course, obviously, it's going to be Papu's Pyramid. This one is interesting. Papu's Pyramid is... Oh, actually, did I do Papu's Pyramid on this one? I think I did Papu's Pyramid, right? Yeah, I did Papu's Pyramid. Okay. Yeah. I go for Papu's Pyramid here, and this is an interesting one because it is really, really... I wouldn't say hard. I would say just... it tests you in a lot of ways. Right off the bat, I mean, you have the very narrow track where you have very tight 90-degree turns, and it's actually really possible to drift in those turns, but it's hard. And I think for the most part, I realized that right off the bat. You know, I'm trying to drift in there, and usually, yeah, you can see I'm braking like crazy because I just don't trust myself right now. And then there's these piranha plants. They're not too much of a hassle. They're just kind of, you know, they're on the outside, so unless you drove towards them, you really won't be affected. That shortcut isn't too bad. You just have to get a triple boost beforehand. This shortcut is interesting. You have to try to get a triple boost followed by a singular boost going to the right. If you go to the left off that, you can still make the shortcut, but you'll put yourself further up the hill. And at that point, it's not, I mean, it is still a shortcut, it's just not as good of a shortcut as it could be. By turning yourself to the right, you're able to basically launch yourself down the hill, and it really becomes a shortcut. So I'm just practicing the shortcuts, I'm trying to get used to it, you know, trying to get better at it. And I think for the most part I'm doing pretty well, you know, I'm doing really well with that one specifically. That's really not too hard. That's one of the more fun shortcuts in the game. I really like it. And it shaves off like a whole, you know, 4 or 5 seconds from going around that entire little kind of, I don't know what you would call that kind of turn. I don't know. Circular turn, I guess. But anyway, just practicing these shortcuts. I'm doing a really good job with them, and I feel really confident about, you know, going against Oxide as long as I can learn how to drift while in the little pyramid, like, narrow section. But my time was really good. I felt pretty confident about that. I had 35, and then 34 for my lap time, so it was pretty good. And so, Entropy, I knew for a fact there was no way that Entropy had a better time than that, because it wasn't perfect, but it definitely wasn't bad or anything, you know. So I felt really good about going in and going against Entropy. You can see right there, again, I forgot to click his ghost, but I beat his time by a whole 14 seconds, I'm pretty sure is what I saw. So I'm like, yeah, if Entropy is that bad, then probably Oxide is not going to be too great either. I didn't really feel like my first time actually would beat Oxide because I wasn't drifting very well in the pyramid, but I think it actually did end up being a little bit better than Oxide, or it was around his time. But ultimately, this track it's not really hard. I wouldn't say it's hard at all. It's just it takes some getting used to, you know, and especially going into the pyramid, that's probably the hardest part about this. You know, that can kill your entire speed boost that you have going for you, just because those turns are so tight. And if you're not used to like doing that many tight turns in succession, then you know you have to figure out how to get used to them, because they don't really show up in a lot of maps, but in the maps that they show up in, they're a really big pain. Like Cortex Castle in particular is one that's a really big pain with those tight turns. So anyway, going up against Entropy and also my Ghost, I put my Ghost on. I'm trying my best to do better than him because I don't know. I'm competitive, and Entropy just wasn't doing it for me for my competitive impulse. So I'm trying to beat my Ghost time, which is really funny. So I take the shortcut just like normal, do really well with that. Making sure I avoid all these piranha plants. They're really not that hard. The relic challenge for this map is pretty intense at times, because there are crates in front of the piranha plants, and those are really hard. And if you didn't know, the cart that I'm driving actually has the cosmetic that you earn for getting all the platinum trophies in adventure mode. I really felt like the platinum trophies weren't too bad, you know, and I got kind of scared for that piranha plant, so I jumped out of the way, and then I jumped into another piranha plant. That was really funny. But I didn't feel like the platinum relics were too bad in any particular races. A lot of people said that Engine Labs was going to be the hardest platinum relic to get, and I don't know. I just didn't feel like it was. It didn't take me too long to really get a good time on Engine Labs. Like, I probably had to restart like 15 times, and that was it. I felt like I struggled a lot more with Dragon Mines that platinum time, because if I remember correctly, in Dragon Mines, the original Crash Team Racing did not have a railing on that spiral staircase, and in this game, it does. So, trying to get those time crates on the mine shaft, first of all, having to outrun the mine cart is ridiculous, but then also having to try to make that jump from all the way across, you know, the railroad tracks, or not the railroad tracks, the mine shaft. It's so hard because your speed is practically non-existent. It's really tough. So Dragon Mines was probably the hardest platinum to get. Papu's Pyramid was also pretty hard too, but yeah, I would say Dragon Mines was harder than Engine Labs by a pretty substantial margin. I don't really know why people complained a lot about that, but anyway, back to Papu's Pyramid. I'm getting off track. So right here, you know, I'm a little bit in front of my ghost. I'm actually kind of surprised because I really didn't feel like I was doing any drift boosts at all in this in the pyramid, but somehow it was better than my first time. So I don't know. I guess, hey, I'll take it. It's improvement, right? You know. And so I think I felt like I was gonna PB by just a little bit, like maybe not even a second. And sure enough, you know, I do good on that last turn, and yeah, I beat my time by just a little less than a second. So pretty good. But now the big bad is Oxide, and I felt really good about my time. I felt like, you know, I probably still could have done a lot better if I was able to actually drift effectively in the pyramid. And so I look at Oxide's time, and what do you know? I actually managed to do better than Oxide, and for some reason I decided to put all 3 ghosts on. I don't really know why. So obviously, since I beat Oxide on my first try and my second try, I'm like, this is going to be pretty easy, you know. I don't even have to drift in the pyramid to beat him. So it felt a lot better, because if I was going to have to drift in the pyramid, it was going to be tough. But I think I actually do a pretty good job here on my Oxide run. I think I did a really good job of just, you know, feeling a lot more comfortable and doing it a lot more often. You know, I wasn't like scared and backing off. I was actually like kind of committing to it. So here you're going to see me, you know, just normal start, kind of not really as good as my ghost, as you can see, but yeah, I'm taking that turn with 2 boosts. Not really confident to try it there, but I'm pretty sure on the second and the third lap I actually do try it, and I feel more confident with it. Go for the shortcut again, and really haven't messed up that shortcut at all throughout all these runs, which I'm very proud of. I felt really good about both of these shortcuts. But if you saw, my ghost actually took that shortcut really bad on that first lap, because I didn't turn myself in drift. So, but here, look at this. Look at me trying to drift, and it's not good. It's not great. You know, it definitely could be better. But I'm trying. I'm trying, and I really feel like I can definitely improve upon this time if I ever did revisit time trial mode. So I'm like, I'm a little bit ahead of my ghost, not too, you know, incredible, but you know, there you're going to see the dead run. I missed the shortcut by just a little bit. It really, you know, honestly, even if I would have gotten the shortcut, I probably still would have restarted, because I really wanted to get a better time. But yeah, that really sucked. That I wasn't able to turn myself in time, and you know, that was pretty bad. But as you can see, that drift wasn't too bad. All those drifts were really good, and even though it wasn't like constant drifting, it was just once every turn, and that was really all it needed to be in order to keep up a good amount of speed going through there. So I felt really good about that. And then the shortcut, really perfect, you know. Obviously, I'm ahead of my ghost by a pretty good amount. I'm ahead of Oxide by a good amount too. Yeah, I'm trying to boost. I'm trying to just get a feel for how to boost through here, and I'm actually not doing too bad. You know, I got 4 boosts in total throughout that entire pyramid, so I was pretty happy with that, you know, and I just knew as long as I didn't, you know, choke the shortcuts, I was easily going to PB by a decent amount. So, you know, this part, just trying to turn myself in perfect, you know, well, not perfect, I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but, you know, for me, it was pretty darn good. And going into the pyramid, trying to drift, hitting the wall a little bit, and kind of, you know, that kind of sucked, but it wasn't too bad. And at least I recovered from my from hitting the wall pretty quickly by just getting right back into another drift boost. And yeah, you can see my ghost is reasonably far behind. So this is a really good run for my standards, and just have to do this last shortcut, which I do, and bada bing, bada boom. We get 143 on the dot, which is really crazy. And yeah, so that was it. That was the Oxide run for Papu's Pyramid and all the other tracks that I did. Hope to make this a series, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys then. Bye.